Hello, dear students. Today I want to talk to you more about disagreement, and especially disagreement in fundamental things. Remember we talked about disagreement in self-evident principles? And we're not going to talk so much about self-evident principles maybe, but we're going to get real close to what self-evident principles. We're going to talk about self-evident things that are first, okay? And now I'm getting this, again, from Dr. Michael Ogros. Really great, strongly encourage you to read his stuff. And this is from a wonderful book by him called Who Designed the Designer? Okay, it's available on Amazon. I might put a link to it down below, who knows. But anyway, he's a great teacher, Dr. Michael Ogros. Thank you very much. Fellow student of mine when I was at Thomas Aquinas College, and I learned a lot from him, and I'm learning a lot from him now. Okay, so I want to start with a riddle. And there's two people, okay? We have Rene Descartes, and we have St. Thomas Aquinas, okay? I'm just going to give you some hints here, okay? Rene Descartes, mathematician, really good mathematician. We did his work at Thomas Aquinas College. Amazing, very hard for me. And considered by many the acknowledged father of modern philosophy, modernity, okay? And then we have St. Thomas, a Dominican priest. And later on, after his death, a canonized saint, okay? So you have a modern philosopher, mathematician, a priest, and a canonized saint. Which one thought, because they had two different thoughts, one of them thought that the proof for the existence of God, or certitude about the existence of God, is much more certain than things of the world, imagination, senses. And another one thought, no way, the things of the world, the senses, our certitude about that is much more certain than our certitude about reasonings of God. Seems like the saint would say, no, God first, and the mathematician and the modern philosopher would say, no, imagination and senses first. It's the opposite. St. Thomas said that could never be. It could never be that your certitude about God is more certain, and I'll talk about more and less certain in a bit, more certain than your certitude about things of mathematics and things of sensation. And Descartes said the opposite. No, your certitude of God is more certain than what you know about 2 plus 2 being equal to 4. You know God's existence, you're more certain about God's existence than you are that 2 plus 2 equals 4. Now he's talking about reasoning, he's not talking about faith now. He's talking about what we reason to, okay? You're more certain that God exists than you are that you're touching hard wood right now, say, or that you're touching hardness, okay? So that's what I want to talk about. So let's, later on in another video, I'm going to talk to you more details about Rene Descartes. But right now, I just want to give you a quick overview. Then we'll close this video, and then I'm going to open up another video talking about my opinion of this. We're basically getting to the grano of things, okay, of what Rene Descartes thought, okay? And then we'll close after the second video there. Okay, so what did Rene Descartes try to do? What happened was, he tried to emancipate, he tried to free the dependence of the intellect on sensation. Okay, so he starts his book, he starts his train of thought, say, with an experience, a personal experience he had of dreams. And I can say I'm going to get more into this later, but because he came to the conclusion that sometimes he thought he was living in reality and it turned out to be a dream, that therefore he needs to doubt that he's either living in reality right now or a dream. Okay, so he starts with doubt, personal doubt. And as we know the famous Latin phrase, he put it in Latin to make it sound cool, I guess. Dubito, ergo cogito, ergo sum. I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I am. Okay, so it starts with doubt about around you, but then it goes to thinking, and then it goes to surety about who you are. So here's how he ended up reversing things and saying that actually the truths about sensation depend on the truths that we have about God and a certitude about God. So the certitude, he ends up coming to a conclusion that we have certitude about sensation, but less certitude. That certitude depends on the certitude we have about God. So here's how he does it real quick. Because I doubt, I am thinking, and because I'm thinking, I exist. And something like, I didn't bring my own existence, so there must be God making me exist and giving me these thoughts that I am, say. And because, now this is where it gets a little bit fuzzy, even more fuzzy, because God is good and by his very nature, etc., 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 it must be the case that the things that I'm sensing are true. Because God wouldn't give me this ability to engage with a falsehood. God's not perverse. So that must be true. Okay? So that's kind of in a nutshell what Descartes thought and how he reversed the order of things. Okay? I'm going to give you my opinion in a second here, but whereas St. Thomas, a commentator of Aristotle, and this long tradition of sort of being grounded in reality, and I would say even Plato. Okay, you've seen that famous painting called, what's it called? Athens or something like that? The Studiorum, I don't remember what it's called, but you have Plato walking with his student Aristotle, okay? And Plato is pointing upwards. And Aristotle is looking at his teacher, kind of a stern face, and pointing downwards, okay? And so what Plato really amazingly thought, no, not amazing that he thought it, but he's a profound man. He said, look, the things I'm looking at are less universal than the things I'm thinking in my intellect. So where did I get those universal ideas? Because that universal thing doesn't exist in my experience of reality. So there must be another world where I was, at least at one time in my life, in contact, and that's called the world of the forms. So he argued that what we see here is kind of like a shadow of the reality, and the reality is another world of the forms where there's perfect triangles, perfect man, perfect this. And that's very cool. So he'd say this comes first, and Aristotle's saying, no, this comes first. Your experience of reality. And I think he gives a very good argument for that. So I'd like to close right now, kind of sum up Descartes, and then come back with you to give you my opinion that's, and listen to this, is in harmony with St. Thomas and atheist. Here I am, a Catholic priest, and St. Thomas and atheists are more in agreement than with each other than an atheist is in agreement with, say, Rene Descartes. Okay, so we'll talk about it in a bit. So again, Rene Descartes, doubting, therefore looking to something that he's sure about, intellect, therefore concluding that there's a God, therefore, because God is good, looking again at reality and having more confidence in reality because there's a God. Okay? Thank you. Bye.